I'm Shivani Gupta. I'm obsessed with small to medium businesses growing. As business owners, we take so much risk and we want to make sure it's worth it. I believe one of the best presents you can give yourself as a business owner is to be able to learn how to scale your people, your profit, and your processes. Hi, everybody, and welcome to Grow Your Business podcast. I'm Shivani Gupta, and I'm your host. Today, I'm going to be speaking about why the middle management are really the heavy lifters in our business. And what do I mean by that? Well, they have become even more important as we now work remotely, either part or so many businesses I'm coming across fully work remotely. And it's really important to understand the challenges that they face, what some of the opportunities are, and what we can do. Now, let's just define what middle management firstly is. It's often the buffer between upper management or the leader or the founder of that particular business and your employees. So they're literally the person in the middle, and hence they call them middle manager. Sometimes in organizations, they're often very overlooked, but they play a really important and a vital role in a company's success and more importantly, the day-to-day operations in terms of the details of what they do. They also serve as communicators for upper management. They can improve morale, they can also destroy morale, but they can do a lot for the employees, and they also ensure that employees following company policies and procedures and often the productivity and the profit models that you may have in your business. They can also reduce, I believe that upper management and leaders in our business can do a lot to reduce the stress that middle managers often feel that can be made to make their lives a little bit easier. So let's talk about how is it that they've actually become more important? Well, as remote work has increased through COVID and now continues to have the ripple effect in so many businesses, it's really important to be able to serve these middle managers and make sure that they've got the right amount of support as well. And there's a couple of great articles that have been published around middle managers, and the way that they define that is that the middle manager actually acts as an intermediate or the conduit or the liaison between the upper and the junior staff, so that they really make sure that they understand that organizational hierarchy. They also have the most authority in a business in terms of decision-making power at the company, and they're trying to take the strategic objectives of the business that the leader and founder have set, and then make sure how do we implement that on a day-to-day basis in terms of its operations. We also trust our middle managers to look at things on a day-to-day basis, make decisions, and sometimes if they're making great decisions, it can often make or break us, depending on what decisions that they actually make. Now, depending on the size of your organization, you might have a number of middle managers, or you might have few, depending on what roles that they have and obviously the size of your organization as well. So, for example, in small business, the owner might be the middle manager, really, or in upper management as well, because what they've got is all the different employees reporting into them. So they're doing roles of the middle manager as well as roles of the leader as well. In a mid-sized company, you might find that the owner or the entrepreneur in the business or a leader in a business would actually have a couple of middle managers, and then the team would report into them. For example, if you've got, often in medium-sized businesses, we don't see HR directors, but if you've got a finance director or a HR director, then you would have that director that would have middle management, and then they would report into the CEO in terms of what they do. If you've got a larger business and you're a leader listening to this particular podcast, then you would often go by function. So, for example, you might have IT, HR, marketing, sales, and they might be a number of the middle level managers that they would then report into upper management or into the CEO. And again, the larger the business, you might have vice presidents or presidents, depending on where your organization is. So let's talk a little bit about what are some of the benefits of having middle managers. Well, there's some really great research that's been done that talk about the fact that middle managers are often the eyes and the ears of the organization, because they're closer to day-to-day operations, they're closer to customers, they're closer to the employees, but they're far enough so that they allow the frontline, the people, your team, to be able to deliver that. So they're that in between that takes this big picture that's been set by the upper management or leader or founder, and the team and the staff that are delivering it, and they are trying to make sure that that big picture is implemented. So it's really, important to be able to look at that. And as I said earlier, a lot of the middle management, if they're the right person, can also really lift the morale and the productivity and the profit of your business. So what are some of the challenges that they face? Well, often middle managers feel very undervalued. So they feel like that there's so many things that actually come onto their plate, and they're just asked to go and actually do that. And they feel that they're often not thanked enough, praised enough, just not much feedback comes to their part. There's a great Harvard article in HBR that's been written, and it talks about the fact that the idea of middle managers and unexceptional, mediocre supervisors has been around for decades. In fact, there are some organisations even now that are cutting out that middle level management. They often think, well, we can't cut the frontline stuff. We're not going to cut the upper, and we're going to cut the middle level managers. And so it's really important that they are not undervalued, and that there is a number of things that you as a leader and entrepreneur can do to be able to grow your business. And that's to give some feedback and praise and thank yous to your middle managers. The other problem that they face is stress and burnout. And so there are a number of reports, particularly coming out of the US, that are saying that middle managers are the unhappiest employees in the US in organizations. So it's not the frontline staff who are going out and delivering it, it's the middle managers. And the reason is that they're stuck doing so many different things. They're managing all the employees and the stress of managing employees and answering to those in upper management. They often feel that they are not keeping anybody happy because they're always firefighting and working on certain issues. And it can be really challenging when they've got some very challenging people that are reporting to them, questioning them, not following policies, and having to performance manage that as well. And that can lead to stress. It can even lead to depression. And this report that's come out of the US talks about that 18% of supervisors, and this study was done across thousands of employees, actually report that they've got some level of depression, which is a lot more higher percentage than blue collar workers at 11%, and also the executives also sitting at about 11%. So, it's a lot more stress in terms of what they need to be able to do. And this report also talks about the fact that middle level managers from a job satisfaction actually are in the bottom 5%. So they report burnout very constantly. And I think it's really being, really important as leaders and founders that we need to be able to help our middle managers succeed. And so how do we do some of that? Well, some of that is that we can leverage technology. We can simplify some of their tasks. We can speed up activities. Perhaps it's the way that we do timesheets, perhaps it's onboarding, but different ways of looking at how technology can take the time and certain processes and manual processes out. The other thing is to offer middle level management some learning and development opportunities and saying, look, you are very important. We want to keep investing in you, and we want to make sure that you've got extra tools and strategies that you're learning, because when you learn them, you're able to apply them into your business. And so there's a lot of things that you can do to keep their skills sharp, and also be able to have the ability for them to be able to learn new skills. They can become better managers. They can become even a greater asset to your business, and making sure that they've also got up-to-date information in terms of how to manage people, as well as manage employees and also upper people. They can also, it's really important, one of the things that they struggle with is how to mitigate risks, because they get caught between it. And there's a saying that, they're often the meat in the sandwich or the veggie patty in the sandwich. And so they struggle with that in terms of saying, well, who do I keep? Who is the greater good, the greater master in terms of who I report to? One person pays my salary, but unless I keep my staff happy, then I can't deliver on the big picture as well. So just helping them have some really good negotiation skills comes in really handy in terms of what you need to be able to do. Now, there's lots of other retention strategies. I've run a number of podcasts on them, and there's some great expertise that I've shared with other guests and myself in there. Any questions that you have, my business is called Ask Shivani, and if you could take a moment to review and rate the podcast, I would really always appreciate it. Hope you continue to grow yourself and your business. Thank you for tuning in.